Hey guys, it's JP from Foxhole Woodworks. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm going to build a keepsake box today for a Christmas present for my mother. This box was designed by James King at King's Fine Woodworking. I will have a link in the description below for his detailed video. I'm not going to show you all the processes, I'm just going to show you how I did it. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. This box is going to be made out of walnut and maple, so the first thing we need to do is mill down all of our parts. I took all of my walnut boards to our local woodworking guild and used their joiner and planer. The walnut 4/4 stock was rough sawn, so we had to run it through the joiner and the planer several times to get it square. We also cut the stock down to a rough length. After finishing milling the pieces, I took it home and we ripped each piece the final width on the table saw. I used a Craig miter gauge to cut all the pieces to their final lengths. Then I take the pieces to the miter saw. I place the board square with a zero clearance insert and set a stop block on the other side. This will ensure that I get tight fitting miters. Next, we are going to line the pieces upside down and tape each end. Then flip the pieces over and we're going to put tape on the edges of each miter so the glue squeeze out will be a lot easier to clean up later. Next, we're going to slap on a ton of glue. Miter joints are usually really weak and they suck up a lot of glue, so we like to use a little bit extra glue to make sure these are relatively strong. We're going to reinforce the joint later. After you apply the right amount of glue, we're going to roll up the sides together and then it's going to form a box. Next, we're going to put a couple of clamps on here just to make sure that the miters don't come apart. Let this dry for a couple hours. Next, we're going to go back to the table saw and we're going to rip down some pieces for the raised panel rail and style top. Now we're going to take the miter gauge and cut each rail and style part to its final length. Now we're going to run each piece through the router table with the raised panel bit set. This is the bit that creates the groove. I'm not going to show you how I actually cut out the raised panel. I'm going to refer you to James King's video. The link will be in the description. He has a very detailed video on how this is done. And we're moving on. So I'm going to attach the raised panel to the top of the box with a lot of glue, and then we're going to clamp it down for a couple hours until it dries. A quick note, I am using an acid brush right here to spread the glue. I like these brushes because they spread the glue very evenly. You can find these at any arts and crafts store or you can buy them in bulk on Amazon. I'll have a link in the description below. Once the glue is dried and we remove the clamps, I'm going to use a flush trim bit and a router to flush up the sides of the raised panel top. Next, we're going to sand the box into about 220 grit. You can go higher if you want to, if you want it smoother. I'm using Clean Spore's new Festool sampler pack here that Mike was gracious enough to send me. This sandpaper is awesome. There's different kinds in there, so you can test each one out. Next, we're going to take the box over to the table saw and separate the lid from the rest of the box. You want to cut this a little bit higher or a little bit deeper, or whatever you want to call it, so it will fit the screws to the hidden hinges we're going to use. Next, we're going to put a rabbiting bit into the router table, and we're going to knock out a groove all the way along the bottom of the box. This is going to accept the bottom that we're going to glue up here in just a second. Applying some extra stock down to a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to rip it to size, and then we're going to cut it in half, and then next we're going to laminate it together. This is going to be the bottom of the box. Now we're going to put the bottom under the box, and we're going to trace out the rabbit onto the box so we can cut it out and shape it so it'll fit into the grooves perfectly. Out the bottom with a table saw. It'd probably be easier to use the bandsaw, but I had this was a little bit more convenient for me, and plus the Incra positioner made it pretty accurate. Next, we're going to spread some glue into the rabbit, and then I took the sander and shaped out the rounded edges on the bottom piece so it fit perfectly. This bottom piece fits pretty snugly, but go ahead and use some parallel clamps and tighten that down and let the glue set up before you remove them. I attempted this box 3 times because I screwed this part up. I'm using Sauce 204 hidden hinges to attach the lid. I also got the template guide. I used 2 strips of walnut to act as edge guides beneath. There are 2 indexing pins on the jig, so place them against the sides of the box. Then butt up 2 hardwood strips, placing the edge of the strips 1.5 inches from the edge of the template cutout. This will act as an edge guide, and it will give you equal spacing on all 4 sides. James uses a router table method to accomplish this. I don't have the right router bit to do that, so go check out his video and see how he did it. Playfic. Next, we're going to take the box over to the table saw and use the spline jig to cut 3 equally spaced splines in each corner. I went ahead and cut out some thin strips of maple off camera. These thin strips are the same width as the blade girth. So glue each one in place. They should be tight enough to where they'll hold themselves in place and they won't move. Also off camera, I cut the splines even with the sides of the box with a flush trim saw. Finally, we're going to add 5 coats of lacquer. I sanded it between each coat and then I let it dry overnight. Thank you everybody for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our channel. Also go check out James's website. He has plans for this box. I also have plans on my website plus some merchandise and t-shirts. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Have a good day.